box, but they're not great. Hey everybody, happy Tuesday. Pam's here.
Tuesday.
Tuesday
It's not Monday.
But it's Tuesday for tendon to be a Monday.
I know. These, I swear, these short weeks are going to be the death of us.
They are. All right.
Short holiday weeks.
I've told Twitter that we are live. I've told Facebook that we are live. So now I'm going to close those places so they can quit bugging us. Let's see here. Yeah, I think we're good. Oh, we need to put a banner. What are we doing? Listener questions. Show. I always make it match my hat.
The banner matches your hat.
No, I don't know. It's from last night or when we did the live show, the call-in show. All right. We see the folks are tuned in. Hello. If you have questions, we would love to use those for the show today. So if you have a question about Walt Disney World, I know, Len, you are headed down very soon because I was just talking with you via email. So if you have a question, ask away. Just a curious question. We'd love that. Just something you're pondering. We'd use that for today's show.
Yes. Things to ponder.
Food and wine just started, so we could talk about that. Kevin's here. I think he's down in Georgia. I believe he's in Ricky's neck of the woods, North Georgia. Okay, but I do have one to lead off, so we don't have to just sit here and kill time until people ask questions. Kevin is over on Twitter, so that's pretty cool. I'll see what we look like over on Twitter real quick before we start. I just want to check this out.
Twitter banned in certain countries now.
I know, dude. We're banned in Brazil, but we're still live.
Just a little banned.
We're live in the USA. Ooh, we're going up against Twit right now. My other favorite show. Mike Roman is live. Ooh, I got a big banner ad when I opened up Twitter. I'll join. I'll go for that. Ooh, there's 7 people watching. That's pretty cool. Here we are, right there on Twitter.
There we are. Live, but banned.
Banned
In Brazil.
Exactly.
All of our Brazil people can't see us anymore on Twitter.
Sorry. We are not in Rio de Janeiro.
You'll have to go to one of the other locations to find us.
Watch us on Facebook.
Yes.
All right, Len, picking up a question. I smelled the smoke. That's what I used to tell my 6th graders every time they're like, I'm thinking Mr. Rallman. I was like, I know, I smelled the smoke.
Some days I feel like that, though.
Because that's what my grandpa would always say. Ooh, I forgot to go live on Instagram. Oops, my bad. Here we go. I'm going to fire up Instagram. Firing it up. Here we go. We're live on Instagram. There we go.
I like that it seems as if it's a manual process.
It is.
Like you're cranking it up. Yes, exactly.
Diff Punk. Hello, Diff Punk. We just fired up Instagram. Hello, it's Becky Walker. Hello on Instagram. Glad to have you. We forgot to hit the button, and now we're got all kinds of folks watching on Instagram. So hello to Instagram. Now that I actually remember to hit the button. Okay, Zach Samples 11. Hey. Okay, so we're going to be answering your list of questions. You have questions, Instagram, just put them in the comments. We'll have that on the show, and this show comes out in a mere few hours because it's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday, friends.
This
makes Mike nervous.
Makes me so nervous because there's no room for error. I hate Tuesday records. I like Monday records, but what are you gonna do? Everybody was gone yesterday. I hated it.
We don't have that many errors.
Stop, because my computer will crash or something. Stop. You're just asking for it.
Okay.
I hate Tuesday records. Okay, so we are going to do listener questions. I have one to lead off, but we want real questions that are live. So if you want to ask about food and wine or what's going on at Walt Disney World Cruise Line, we got Disney Destiny. That's kind of in the news today. Disneyland. Yeah, we have races at Disneyland this weekend.
Exciting.
Holidays coming up out there. All right, let's do this. Here we go. So this is 2549. Welcome to episode 2549 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Wednesday to you. Hope you're having a great week here in the United States and around the world as you tune into our show. Thanks for taking the time to download or stream our podcast. We always appreciate that and hope the show finds you well. Of course, it is Wednesday, so it's time for your listener questions. And if you are confused, yes, it is Wednesday. It's faking you out like it's it's one of those weeks where you don't really know what day it is here in the States because Monday felt like Sunday because of the 3-day weekend. So just roll with it. Friday will be here before you know it. And it'll be another football weekend here in the United States. Of course, this weekend's really weird if you're a football fan because the NFL's back starts on a Thursday, Friday. It's just take it all in if you're a football fan. It's wild. It's great. Football plays Thursday night, and then I think Friday night there's a game. Speaking of Brazil in the pre-show, there's football, NFL football in Brazil Friday night. It's a weird world. And speaking of world, we're going to talk about Walt Disney World right now with my friend, your friend, everybody's friend. She's the co-owner of the Magic for Less Travel, Pam Forrester. Pam, you've been around the world. What's going on? Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. So I had the long weekend. We had seen some friends and we're talking about all these like childhood sort of toys that you used to have. And then it sort of developed into like things that you had even as you were older, but you didn't know where those things were. Like, did you still have that? Whatever. And I was talking specifically about, so when Steve and I went to Walt Disney World on our honeymoon, I bought this Bean Bunny stuffed animal. Okay. Remember that show that was when you watch the Muppet Show, it would pretty much dump you out into that store that was there that had all those Muppet things.
The one across the street, right?
Yes, it was just across the street.
Melrose, kind of.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Right? Yeah.
And they had all these fantastic Muppet things. So I think I must have bought it at that store, but they had a lot more Muppet-centric things. And I had looked for this item a few months ago, and I came to the conclusion that, oh my gosh, you know what? At some point I probably just got rid of it. You know what I mean? During like one of the many purges of Hannah's stuffed animals. If you're a parent, you know, fight the good fight, my friends. Fight the good fight with the stuffed animals. I'm just saying, you're constantly trying to pare down the stuffed animals. Well, lo and behold, Steve pulled out a box of stuff the other day. I'm going to go off camera. This will be pretty exciting for those who have video, right?
Uh-oh.
Look who I found. It is Bean Bunny.
He is back.
He's back.
I feel like it's a scene out of Muppet Vision 3D.
Right? I know. So I'm really excited to find him because he was like $300 on eBay. And I wasn't going to pay the $300. So
right now,
so there he is.
Right now, ladies and gentlemen, you could have him for a mere
So anyways, pretty excited about that. I did not want to have to pay the eBay prices for him, but I had fond memories of him. So there he is. Now he's in my office. And it like now I feel justified in keeping him because he's like office decor, right? I mean, so
you need to make like a TikTok video with that thing because it's so vintage and it's so
right.
You need to make some kind of a TikTok video with him.
I
like,
know.
Money. Yeah,
I know. I'll have to think about that.
Do it. I'll voice it. I got work. Let's do it. Bean Money. Okay. Anyway, that's awesome though. And by the way, remember we're not a YouTube show because we have faces for I have face for radio, but it's youtube.com/BRGS podcast. Come on over. We like subscribers too, not just Scotty G over at Must See Adventures. We like subscribers too. Anyway, let's get to the questions. That's why you're here. And we asked for them and we got them over on Instagram. And I love trying to read Instagram names because usually it's just a bunch of letters all jammed together because there's no space. I can't tell what it's supposed to mean, but it says Cinder from Emma. Okay, so anyway, we're headed to the world from the UK this weekend. My question is the Springs Jones show. Try that again. I'm a professional. My question is the Springs drone show still going into September, please. Thanks for all. We'll send photos in the Discord from our adventures. Oh, they're over in the clubhouse. Oh, awesome.
Fun.
But unfortunately,
Yeah.
As we recorded yesterday was the last drone show.
It was. It was.
Yeah, Monday. What'd you think of the drone show? Was it a hit? It was, right? It was a hit.
Yeah, it was a hit. I loved it. And I will tell you, it really, I mean, people went to Disney Springs to see this, first of all. You saw that. You saw all the people there, but it was, I think it was great. It just sort of shows what's possible. I hope it gives Disney some ideas. And I can't wait to see if they'll bring some back again at other times and in other locations.
I agree. I mean, they did this actually for our first home football game at Mizzou at halftime. They flew drones over the stadium at halftime. The marching Mizzou, our band, played music to the drones. Big hit. Like everybody liked it because they could make we're the Tigers, right? So they had Truman the Tiger. He waves his move, like his signature move when he gets the crowd really like losing their minds. He grabs his tail and swings it. That's like the big tiger, the Truman up in the sky. Grabs his tail, it'd be 100-foot Truman swinging his tail. People lost their minds. I wasn't there. I was at Howell, but I heard about it from everybody.
Oh,
so
fun.
I mean, everybody's using these drone shows now, like they're league ball games, they're football games, but and I think it really did. The only negative I heard is that it made parking impossible. It made getting around the Springs hard, but I mean that's because people liked it. It was popular. People wanted to see it, so put it in a park. I think it's great for Animal Kingdom. I think it's got possibility for Animal Kingdom.
Just in terms of the fact that it doesn't have those loud noises that could impact the animals. Yeah, I agree. I think there's something there. I think, though, the problem is finding a nice open vista where a lot of people could see it from. Because think about Animal Kingdom. Yeah, there's lots of trees everywhere.
I guess maybe. I mean, what about the theater? I mean, I guess it's small. If you see people in theater, just have a look up. I don't know. I mean,
I don't know either. Maybe
you said theater somehow. I don't know.
Maybe it's something that they'll be thinking of. But yeah, I think it's a great idea for there. And I'm excited. I always love to see what they're testing out to doing a limited trial run. That's when people always come to us and they're like, "Oh, well, they'll extend this, right? Because it's popular." No, not always.
We waited like 7 years for him to bring it back to the Springs.
Exactly.
And Cinder, have a good time over this week coming over from the UK. Safe travels over. Have a blast. And
there'll be so much to do, even without the drone show.
And I mean, just look up. They're shooting stars sometimes. All right. Danielle has a question over on Instagram as well. Danielle_Babcock says, "Hey guys, would you prefer Akershus for breakfast or lunch/dinner for a 3-year-old? Hope y'all enjoyed your Labor Day weekend." I did. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hope you did too. For a 3-year-old, I would go breakfast.
I was going to say the same thing. If your child is anything like our children.
Yeah, that's supposed to be a ding. I had the wrong board pulled up. My bad. But it is also a cha-ching if you're Cinderella's roll table. But okay.
Yes, but it's just like they wake up, like kids wake up with so much energy and excitement, and it's good to sort of funnel that into something. And I think a breakfast is the perfect thing.
The food is more normal for breakfast than lunch and dinner, and a 3-year-old's more likely to like eggs and sausage than smoked.
Yeah,
most kids. Simon, our good friend over in the UK, which by the way, we're recording live a little bit earlier this afternoon. This is what we call a European special recording for our friends over in the UK, by the way. I'm getting ready to fly out to Walt Disney World next week on the 11th, leaving Sully and the rest of the family behind as I go solo. Oh, Simon's not bringing his wingman. That's so sad. What should be top of my solo priority list? Also recommendations for solo dining. Cheers, Simon. GB, Great Britain. So you would say so Pam's going to answer for me. I'm going to answer for Pam. Pam would say lounges. Lounges are your friend.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's a great. I would say that for sure. And I will answer for Mike and say the good thing about Disney World is everywhere you eat, they sort of cater to solos too. It's not just families, it's solos as well. Disney's used to seeing it all and doing it all. So I think that that's something to keep in mind that I don't think there's any place in Disney World except maybe like Victoria and Albert's where I would feel odd dining by myself. What about you, Mike? Is there anything?
No, and I think I talked about this on I think the live show that we had Sunday night that'll come out tomorrow. We do so many shows I can never remember which show it was, but it was recently. Where if I was at home, right? If I'm here in St. Charles, I'm not going to a sit down restaurant by myself, period. Like if the girls are out of town for like a cheer competition, or they have a girls, the cheer moms and the daughters go to Lake of the Ozarks or something. If I'm home for the weekend by myself, I'm not going to go to LS Teca and sit down by myself. I don't know why. I just think that's weird. What I'll do to get LS Teca, I'll just call them and they put it all in a bag, right? And I'll be like, don't forget the guac and the chips and the salsa. And they'll put it all in a bag with my fajita parts and all that stuff. And you carry it out, you pay for it, right? And you just bring it home and you eat it on the deck or whatever. I don't solo eat at a sit down restaurant here, but I have no problem with that at Walt Disney World. And if you just look around, even if you're there with your family next time, look around, you'll see solo diners all the time at Walt Disney World. And the thing is, it's not a big deal. I do this on race weekends all the time because a lot of folks just have the opportunity to go down for conventions, for race weekends, just because you're by yourself. Who cares? You just want to have a good time. It doesn't matter. You don't have to go down with people. And, play on your phone, take pictures of your food, tweet it out, check social media. Some people, during football season, I'll pop up my phone and, I have YouTube TV. I'll have the 4-box. I'll be watching 4-foot. I don't care if you think, I hope you don't think that's rude. I'm by myself. I don't have the sound on. I'll have my AirPod in one ear or something and be checking in on 4 different football games while I'm eating fajitas at Maya Grill. I'm not bugging anybody. I'm living my best life. I think the norms have kind of changed over the last 10, 15 years. I'm just, I'm not bugging anybody. I'm not distracting anybody, but it's not such a social, like I think, 15, 20 years ago, it was like weird to sit down and have a table service meal by yourself, but I don't think that's the case anymore.
No, I don't think it is either. And I think too, the great thing about going to Disney World is even a character meal. Like I see lots of people dining solo, even at a character meal. And I think that's a good thing. I'm like you, Mike, typically at home, if I'm going to be by myself, I'm probably not going out. I'm probably doing takeout and coming home. But I have no problem with it at Walt Disney World. Just never, it doesn't even cross my mind that it's odd because you just see it so often. So that's the cool thing. And the other thing I'd say, Simon, is these solo trips are your opportunity to do whatever you want, whenever you want, and to not have to consider anyone else's feelings. And that's the great thing about a solo trip is you can be absolutely selfish and it's not selfish at all. It's just, you don't have anyone else to answer to. And I think the other thing is too, if you're doing something and you want to change gears, that's another thing. You can do it on the fly. And that's not always as easy when you have other people in tow because everyone else has expectations and wants and things like that. But I love the solo trip thing. I think it's a very cool thing.
Like Simon says, he's got his own car at Sci-Fi. That's the perfect opportunity, right? I remember I was down there. It's like 3 or 4 years ago at this point. I sat outside Sci-Fi. No kidding. You know, you got to have that proximity sensor like reservation where you're in the area and they tried it. I still didn't get in. I have some kind of curse to not get in that restaurant. I could get in Brown Derby. I was in the park. I could get reservations for Brown Derby. I could get in 50s prime time. And I'm like, I am good. I'm by myself. Dude, they can get one dude that really wants to get in here if I'm patient. Boom, 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 boom. Kept hitting it 45 minutes, finally gave up, got on the Skyliner, went over to Primo Piatto and ate. Couldn't get in. But yeah, I mean, with one person, you're liable to get in there and have a good time. And that Sci-Fi is an awesome place to dine solo, right? No, it's dark. Nobody even knows you're probably by yourself. Dude, you're living your best life.
True.
I'm thinking like it's got burger shakes, like old movie clips. You're living your best life. Nobody knows. Like 5 people in that car, one person, nobody knows. Who cares? And I'm gonna try
and everyone there is looking up at the screen anyway.
Exactly. You just rolled in on you're just rolled in by yourself in your car. Let's see here. Diff Punk over on Instagram says, "Hey, BOGP team, we'll be staying at the Polynesian for our Walt Disney World trip in November. If we did an ADR for Crystal Palace before the park opens, would the monorail be running that early? How's that work if you're on the monorail loop for a pre-park opening ADR, Pam? I never say over there.
Yeah, so the pre-park opening ADRs used to be much more of a thing, right? Remember? Because the only people who could get into Main Street were the folks who had those pre-park ADRs. Now, of course, they open the gates and let everyone in on Main Street. So you'll be able to do that. And the monorail will be able to take you. And the good news is that if the walkway from the Polynesian to the Grand Floridian is open, you can also just keep on going and go to the Grand Floridian and walk over to the Magic Kingdom. So lots of options there for you. But yes, it will be open. And boat service and monorail service start typically around the same time. So one of those options will be able to get you into the park.
All right, here's a question from Len, whose Spartans are an undefeated 1-0 going into this weekend. Says, I just recently heard about a show in Epcot called Forces of Nature that has been extended through March. It apparently is an acrobatics, I should say. I can't read today. Show in World Celebration. Have you seen this show? We're thinking of trying to include this in our plans. I have not seen this in person, but I've seen the coverage of it. Pam, have you seen it?
I have, yeah. Yeah, I have. I thought it was really interesting, and I liked having that energy in that space. First of all, World Celebration. I will never be able to call that area anything but Future World.
Thank you. That's exactly right. I mean, oh,
I know. They're trying to kill us with these name changes.
Real. It's like the new Coke.
I know. I know. Since you are listening to the Senior Citizens of Podcasting, we're not able to make changes like this.
I'm telling you, man, we've been doing this almost 17 years. Like, you cannot teach an old podcast new tricks. It's hard.
You can't. So, anyways, thankfully we were able to make the connection here. Yes. No, I have. And it is. So I don't know why, like, does Disney scope like America's Got Talent or something and scoop up folks that have like some of these unique and awesome talents? Because who would like, I don't know, maybe I was just an uninspired child who didn't like think of doing things like this in my basement while I was growing up. But anyways, so no, this, I think it is worth seeing. And I think it's shown a few times during the day, not too much into the evening. But yeah, I think it is worth seeing for sure. Check it out and put it in your plans.
I think this is just kind of tangential to Len's question. Absolutely. Live entertainment, I think, is at the heart of Walt Disney World, and kind of piggybacking on that. I think one of the biggest upgrades Walt Disney World could do is to take a step back. And if I were really wanting to re-energize the parks and re-energize the base of the Disney fans that are at the core of the folks who really were there in the 90s and the 2000s, who would come back, I think maybe that are a little disenfranchised right now, because there are some people that are kind of a little bit disenfranchised. I mean, we hear that on social media. I think one of the number one things I would do if I was in charge of parks, I would bring back more live entertainment in the parks. I'd bring back things like Streetmosphere immediately. And what I would do is I'd have more things like this, but I would bring back the Chinese, the acrobats in China, the people that stack the chairs in France, you know, the whistleblower guy in Italy. And I know they're there sometimes, but I mean, I'm talking every single day. And I know this stuff costs money, but you got to spend money to make money. And it's one of those things. I know that it's probably really hard to get a hard accounting number on what's the return on investment for like live entertainment in the parks, because it's not like lightning lanes. Like, how many do you sell per hour? And
right,
you can get a real number, like a hard number on what's the value, how much profit are we churning on this? Like with live entertainment, it's probably a gray area, right? It's more like, did I have a good day today? You know, are people happy? You can't put a number on happy. Or did I get a good value? Because that's a real judgmental kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think people like us, you get Streetmosphere, you get citizens of Main Street, you know, like the suffragettes, the fire captain, the mayor, welcoming you in every day. That there's just something, you know, the welcome show at the train station. I just think things like that, because just like Len said, You stop for 15 minutes. It's not why you go to Walt Disney World, but many times when you go home, those are the pictures you show people. Those are the clips of 2 minutes of the Dapper Dans that really you show people. This is what set us apart from other places.
I agree. So here's my idea for Disney. Are you ready for it? I say we go back here in Epcot and do like a long weekend, or maybe it's a series of weekends, right? Where we celebrate like the early decade of Epcot, the first 10 years it was open, right? I want Mickey and Minnie, spacesuits, rainbows, that, right?
Rainbow, like
100%. Yeah. I want, of course, you want Figment and Dreamfinder, right? You're going to be able to see them. You're going to be able to get a hand witch. You're going to be able to see all the different entertainment. But think about that. I think that would really be, that would be a great festival for Epcot in particular. So, we have all these different festivals and they all sort of center around food, and maybe the food booths could even feature foods that were available in those early days of Epcot. But Disney, there's got to be like a 3-week period of time where like things are a little slow. You're looking for something to do. Let's celebrate the first decade of Epcot and let's do it like this. I think it would be awesome. I would be there for it. Wouldn't you be there for it?
I would totally be there for it.
I would make it happen.
100%. And I think, they're going the right direction with they're going to build new attractions and all this stuff.
I agree.
The things they're doing right now take years and years and years, which of course, you're retheming Dino Land to be South America. That's going to be awesome.
Agreed.
2028. But if they would have come on the stage at D23 and said, we keep hearing this kind of rumble that people miss live entertainment. There was something that really set our parks apart was the heartbeat of the mayor of Main Street USA. Because you know how many pictures I literally have on my phone of the mayor? I always got a picture with the mayor. Every time I went into the Magic Kingdom, I got a picture. I have so many pictures of me and the mayor, the fire chief, the suffragettes, all the people at Hollywood Studios, like of me with the cop getting arrested and because I was walking too fast, or the movie director, trying to put me in a show. Those are my favorite pictures. Like they could have walked on that stage and because they could have done a casting call. And literally, like worst case scenario in a month had all that stuff back. And people would have lost their minds. And it's really hard to show an ROI on that, but man, what a good faith thing. And they would have got such great social media buzz on that. And it would just been so good. I don't know. Maybe I'm always like overly optimistic and think things are so easy.
Yeah.
But those are the good old days. That was just,
I
see where the negative is in that. It can't cost it that much for what we're paying. We're paying a lot, I don't know. Anyway, back to the questions. Shut up, Mike. Okay. Natalie has a question over here. Says my parents are going down in November for my mom's 65th birthday. They aren't taking me, which is sad. Oh, Natalie, you need to keep working. It's not November yet. Keep working.
It could happen.
I'm telling you, Mallory works me so hard. Usually it ends up happening. So I'm just saying. She says, my dad wants a good steak. Where do you recommend going? They're staying at Yacht and Beach, which, by the way, you have a good steakhouse close by. Yacht Men's Steakhouse, but that's a good place. I've never actually eaten there. Well, I was going to go there with you one night, like years ago, and I still regret it because I got a stomach ache that night. I'm so mad.
Oh man, yes. So you have the lovely Yachtsman's Steakhouse that is right there at the Yacht Club. And I will say my husband swears by this to this day, and I kind of lean towards agreeing with him. I think one of the best steaks on property is actually at Flying Fish, which is a seafood place, but they know they have to have options available for the folks that don't want to have seafood. There is something, they put like a char crust on this that is just beyond good. It's so tasty. So consider that. That's a really good location too. And those are both within walking distance right there of Yacht and Beach Club.
Have you been to Shula's? Because I always hear about Shula's, and I've seen Shula's in a couple of hotels I've stayed in, like up in Chicago and one other place. But how do you rate Shula's?
I thought the thought Shula's was good. As I recall, I think most of the things were like a la carte there. So it would be sort of like a Ruth's Chris that you order the meat and then you order your side dishes like separately, sort of like that kind of thing. And I think that the food is really good there. I think that I probably would put, Flying Fish and Yacht and Beach maybe a little ahead of that in terms of if I'm ranking them. But you know what? I think that that's so hard to rank things like that because there may be a side dish here that you love or whatever. And when I'm talking Yacht and Beach Club and Yachtsman, I'd be really remiss to not mention the pull apart onion rolls. They are so good. They're worth going there just for that. In fact, you can get them now. Mike, they've changed Cruise Cup menu a little bit. And that's actually, the onion rolls are so good that they have them as something that you can order from Cruise Cup. So you can check them out there too. Yeah, I know, right? A good roll. It's hard to beat a good roll.
Oh my gosh, you're not kidding. I mean, you know me, right? I go to Texas Roadhouse just so they're like, because like they walk you to the table. Well, you probably don't go to Texas Roadhouse. You don't seem like Texas Roadhouse girl, but we go all the time. They take you, as they greet you, they bring the basket with you as they take you to your table, right, with your first batch of rolls. I mean, boom, those things are gone by like the time they walk away. And then they're like, would you like more? Yes, we would like more.
Yes.
That's why we go. And then we just destroy those things. So yes, I could imagine at Cruise Cup, I could tear some up.
Oh, they're so good.
They're the same rolls you have over at Yachtsman Steakhouse, correct?
They are, yes. So there's an onion pull apart roll, and I believe there's a sourdough roll typically too. They're both really good, and I love sourdough. But I'm telling you, this onion roll is so good. I just like push that sourdough roll to the side.
Bring it. All right, let's go to the inbox, and we have a question from listener Liz in Rhode Island. Hey, Mike, Scott, Pam, and Ricky. 50% of us showed up today. We're here.
Right? We get extra credit.
I get up to 75% on Friday. I've been a long time listener. My favorite show of the week is the Listener Question Show. Yay! After all these years, this is my first listener question. I've recently, after having 3 children, put my health and wellness as a priority and have lost 50 pounds. Wow, congratulations. That's awesome. I have started running, and my goal was a Run Disney race in 2025. Well, I registered for my first Run Disney Challenge, Springtime Surprise 2025. I'm doing all 3 races, the 5, 10K, and the 10 miler. My question is, where do you think the best resort is to stay for a Run Disney weekend, specifically Springtime Surprise, since it is mainly at Epcot and the studios that we run through? I admit, even though I consider myself a Run Disney nerd, go a couple times a year, I'm feeling a little bit out of my comfort zone with the Run Disney stuff. I do love the Skyliner, but it doesn't have to be a Skyliner resort. I prefer not to book a deluxe, as it is just my husband and myself, and we don't plan on spending too much time at the resort. Any helpful tips for Run Disney in general would be great. Thank you for all your efforts. The podcast has helped push me through many tough runs. Thanks so much, Liz. First of all, Liz, that is awesome that you are like so far down the road on this this fitness journey. I mean, 50 pounds is remarkable. That is incredible.
Sure.
These race weekends can be such a celebration because you've already put in the work and you will continue to put in the work. That'll just be the celebration laps. And when they hand you those medals, the 5, the 10, the half, and the challenge medal, you get to take those home, show everybody of all the work, not only that you did that weekend, but all the work that you and the commitment you've put in all the time up to then. And you get to celebrate this entire weekend. Now, your answers are Pop Century and Coronado Springs or Old Key West. Those are your 3 answers. That's what I like, though, for Run Disney weekends. If you want to go value, I do like Pop Century for the Skyliner. And there's always tons of runners at Pop Century, which I like because it gets you jazzed up. There's nothing like seeing all the other runners. It just, especially because you're going to like be all... It's your first Run Disney weekend. You're going to be so jazzed up about the whole Run Disney experience. You're constantly going to be running into people in short shorts and sneakers, and everybody be smelling like icy hot. It's like intoxicating for somebody that's there for a Run Disney weekend. It's wild. So Pop Century it is if you want to go value. Coronado is just a great overall value. Plus, it's a great location because you're right by the studios and Epcot for a moderate. It's got great dining on site, 3 Bridges, Maya Grill. It's got Topolino, or not Topolino, Toledo. and it's got, you know, the I always call it this El Mercado, but what was it was called Pepper Market. I still call it Pepper Market. Again, we're old. Pepper Market back in the day. It's got great, I mean, the dig site pools. It's just a great hotel. It's a great spot to stay. You can stay in the tower if you want to go fancy. You can go standard rooms. They're fine. It's got it all. It's got the jazz guy playing the music and Maya Grill. Can't forget about him. So Coronado's great. In Old Key West, if you want to go a little deluxe and maybe get a deluxe studio, it's right there. I mean, it's right there. That's a great spot too. But that'd be if you have a car. I'd have a car if you stay at Old Key West. So I've kind of hogged that one. But Pam, anything you want to offer up Liz for her first Run Disney experience?
Just another one to throw into the mix. Caribbean Beach is right there. It's very close to Epcot as well. And I just want to point out too, I know that a lot of folks think about like the location, like where to stay, where not to stay at the Run Disney races. And I will say that Disney has gotten so much better about that there are going to be race buses going from all the resorts. And it's not a huge advantage to be staying even at one of the Epcot resorts if the Epcot races are happening, because they do not let you come through the International Gateway before or after the race without, they won't let you do it before the race because it's not open. And after the race, the only way you're going to be able to is if you have a park ticket and you actually go through the park and walk through. So it's something to keep in mind, because I know it sounds super convenient, and yet it's not quite as
the park won't be open after the 5K because you'll be
down. Oh, right. That's absolutely.
You'll be doing like at 6:30. The park probably won't open until 8.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So you'll be taking. Yeah, the only one you're probably worried about, that's the half. Yeah, so you'll be taking a bus back, and the bus is a motor coach that takes you back. You cross the finish line and you collect your medal, you collect your little food box, and then boom, they walk you right to like a big comfy motor coach. There's one for every resort, and it takes you right back to your hotel.
There is.
You're right. I mean, people don't remember this. Again, it's just like the theme of today's show is old. Back in the day. With Run Disney, there were only certain hotels that were called.
Oh yeah,
they were called host hotels, right?
Host hotels.
So you got to pay attention. One time, I stayed at Animal Kingdom Lodge by accident on a Run Disney weekend. Guess what? Was not a host hotel. I had to get a cab. This is the only time in my life I've ever been in a taxi cab. I was for real in a yellow taxi. That's the only time I was in a taxi cab. It was for the Halloween. It was the Twilight Tower of Terror. 13 miles.
Oh gosh, yeah.
It was the one that was in October. It was 13, I guess it was 13 miler.
13.1, I think.
13,
wasn't it?
13. Yeah, it was the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. It was a 10 miler.
Okay.
But I just remember the cab driver went on the sidewalk because I was late. Because I had to figure this all out. This is back before I was. Trust me, if I'm your travel agent, I figured this all out by now. So don't freak. Like, oh my God, travel agent didn't know what's going on. This is a long time ago. Dude, I told the guy, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be late. I'm gonna miss the race. He went up on the sidewalk and dropped me off by the Globe at ESPN Wide World of Sports, because that's where the starting line. This was like a point-to-point race. Like, you started at ESPN for that race and you ended at Epcot. So you didn't even start and stop at the same place. He went around people. This guy was crazy. And dropped me off up by the Globe. I don't know if I got arrested or whatever, but I gave him a pretty good tip.
He got your back.
It was basically like a little pre-bail for the guy. I don't know. I was like, I'll never see the guy again. Hopefully he can get out of jail. But I'm here. I literally ran away from the cab because I didn't want to be like an accomplice. I'm like, I've been in a cab before. I don't know. I'm from Missouri, man. We don't have cabs. We all drive ourselves. Anyway, next question's for Bill. Oh, hello. We can't see. Okay, let's see here. I just finished listening to the show about things you missed from the parks and love that Pam brought up World of Motion while OG Test Track was one of Mike's. It just goes to show that as much as we might miss Splash Mountain or might not be happy that Tom Sawyer Island is going away, Tiana's or the Cars attractions are going to be someone else's thing that made them fall in love with the parks. It's a nice reminder that when one door closes, another one opens for a new generation. How well said is that by Bill? He's over on Facebook.
Yeah, I want to like copy and paste that in like 8 million different channels, because it is. I always try to think about the people I see who love the new attractions, like the people that we saw at Country Bears who loved the new iteration of this ride. This attraction. It made my heart happy. And anytime I see someone loving Disney as much as I do, whether it is something that I love or something maybe that I don't appreciate as much as I should, I, that makes my heart happy. It just does. I want to see that. I want everyone to have that experience and see something that they love in the parks.
It is always hard to say goodbye to something that's your favorite. I mean,
It is.
there's no denying that. But again, there's always going to be renewal. There's always going to be a next generation, and they're going to like something that's new. That's going to be their thing, you know? And so you just got to accept that things change and life moves on. It's hard to, but Bill said it so well there. We appreciate that, Bill. Thanks for being
For
so
sure.
great. All right, last question of the day is going to go to Amy, and says, "Hey, Mike and company, I'm going to Walt Disney World in April of 2025 for a quick trip, and I'm torn on where to stay. We're thinking about Beach Club or the Contemporary. Can't really mess with either one of those. I'm going with my mom and 12-year-old son who loves water slides and park time. Both options seem to have great slides and are close to the parks. How are the garden wing rooms at the Contemporary? The price is better, and we really want to try the Contemporary as it's one of the last resorts we haven't tried yet. Beach Club looks awesome too, and we do love Epcot. Does the garden wing still feel like the Contemporary? Are the Beach Club rooms nice, and are the food options good? I'd love for you guys to help us choose. I listen to each show while running. I appreciate your positivity, consistency, and satisfying my Disney itch. Mike, as a side note, I hope you're okay thinking about your post-hospital stay. Amy, all good. All good. Back to eating Taco Bell. So you know I'm back to normal. Probably shouldn't tell my doctors that, but whatever. I'm the world's worst patient. So that's probably why I ended up there in the first place. I appreciate the kind words. Yeah, we're not gonna talk about that. So man, this is a Sophie's choice, or I don't even know what that means, but people always say that Contemporary Beach Club, because you can't go wrong. I mean, if you're looking for your 12-year-old, you're gonna get the flying jib slide over at the Beach Club at the Stormalong Bay. Now wait, they're going in April of 2025. The Stormalong Bay is going down early 2025 for a refurb. Will it be out by April? That's going to be on the verge.
I don't know if it will be.
I might go Contemporary on this one for sure, just to be safe. I know that. So here's the thing about the garden wing rooms, the Contemporary, they are huge. I'll just tell you that. Because Scott stayed in one. Or was it you that stayed in them, or was it Scott? I know we were all in one.
They're different. Yeah, there's different. It goes, actually, the refurb goes from January to June 2025.
Okay, so I'd go Contemporary on that then.
Yeah, I agree.
That's because you got a couple of pool options over there.
You do. You have the round pool, the bullseye pool.
Yeah, the whirlpool looking pool. We had a good day during COVID in that pool. That was one of the best.
We did. And the garden wing rooms at the Contemporary have the exact same room decor as the tower rooms. You still get those incredibly Incredibles themed rooms. And it's just, they're just not located in the main building. They're located in a separate building that's right outside the main tower. So you actually sort of walk past the pool and get to them. And some of them have some good views. You can have ones that sort of look over the waterway or look over towards sort of the volleyball court and that beach area. So that's something to think of too. But yeah, I think because of the pool construction that's going to happen at the beach club, I would lean towards going to the Contemporary. I think just because you'll have more, you won't be fighting for pool space, and you'll have a pool that has a slide and some features. And then you also have that quiet pool too. So yeah.
And walking to the Magic Kingdom is unbelievable. It's
such a cool thing.
Awesome. And plus the monorail going through your resort is unreal too. I mean, that's a plus, and great. I think better dining also, like as far as like Contempo Cafe beats the Beach Club Marketplace.
I agree. The Beach Club Marketplace doesn't have a lot of choices. There's just not. Sometimes when I see what their choices are, I always wonder, do they have a full kitchen there in the back, or what's happening? I don't always
see better food courts. I mean, it's like, I know that like value resorts are more geared towards food courts, but I mean, deluxe resorts could have food courts too. I know food courts are kind of like cheesy, but still, I mean, come on now.
I think they need enough options for breakfast so that you don't get tired of the breakfast options during a stay, during an average stay, whatever that question is, you know what I mean? Whatever that sort of length of stay is, that you can do it.
All right, last question real quick, because I think I missed this one from Hannah. She says, greetings from Minnesota. A couple of months ago, she had a talking point and she's worried that we missed it. So she says, she had expressed her love for the love of the Emperor's New Groove, was disappointed that there's no representation of this IP anywhere in the parks. She says, furthermore, how cool would it have been if they had rethemed Splash Mountain to this, specifically the scene where, again, help me, Pasha
and Cusco,
and it got cut off here are because it can only be so long.
It can only be so long, but yeah, there's a few different things where they're running up and down the hills of the whole thing. And there's also, I always said that would not specifically that attraction, but I always think there would be a great attraction where Kronk and Yzma, there's a lever that they pull and they end up, the floor drops out and they're always like, why is there that lever? Like, why do we have that lever? And I think it's a great idea. And I think probably not too surprising, because for some reason, Emperor's New Groove, although it is a hysterical movie and completely underrated, I think it's just not one of those movies that people are like, oh, that's my favorite one. And I think there were problems with the storyline in terms of when that movie got developed and it got actually switched from its original story plot. So that's kind of a wild thing too. But I think that's probably why there's not something specific or an attraction specific to the Emperor's New Groove. But it does have absolutely some, some definite storylines that could be good for, I think, an attraction for sure. They did some funny stuff in there. So yeah, maybe in the future we'll see something that's Emperor's New Groove.
People that like that movie love that movie.
It's really funny.
It's cultish. Like people that I mean, like,
yeah,
because I don't know that movie, but I mean, people that like that movie, like, want to see it everywhere.
I know, it's true. And I will say Yzma is one of the best villains ever. Like Eartha Kitt as Yzma, genius. It's really such a good cast there for that. And then you have Kronk, who was Putty, and of course the guy from Soarin', and all that, David Spade and John Goodman, and yeah, lots of great people in that cast for sure.
I had no idea. I'll have to watch that. If I didn't, all those famous people were in it. Welcome to Soarin'.
Yes.
Bill says his over and under is 3.5 bounty planners per trip.
Yes, exactly.
And it's a week-long trip. That's definitely an over. I do switch it up every once in a while with like the biscuit and the breakfast potatoes, but I usually go bounty platter.
I do not like the bounty platter.
I do not love a good bounty.
I know, and I totally understand why people do. It's just that is not my breakfast. Like I don't know, if they would give me another egg option, I would prefer that. But yeah, there's some that really only have like 3 or 4 options at breakfast, right? You have the bounty platter, you have a waffle platter of some sort.
Mickey waffle usually.
You have maybe some kind of sandwich with an egg on it, perhaps. What are some of the other I mean, there's just not. Yeah, there aren't typically
out of the like case, usually donuts or
right. Yes, a humongous sweet roll with it's like the size of your head.
I thought of you the other day though. So I went with my nephew one night. We had a free night, and my nephew called, and he said he doesn't really. He's not real verbal, and he called and asked us to go to dinner with him, and he's obsessed with IHOP. So he's like, would you go to dinner with us at IHOP? So we're like, yes, we'll go to dinner with you. So we did. And IHOP has eggs Benedict. Like, as
yeah.
I had some great eggs Benedict at IHOP. So I thought about you because I know we're
there you go. I do.
Fans of egg Benedict. They're pretty
Benedict good. Is a good thing. Yeah. I'm not going to see that at the food court.
No, it wasn't Paulo, but it was. It's pretty rocking for Chesterfield, Missouri. I'm not going to lie. It was pretty and now I need some breakfast instead of Taco Bell, but we'll see what we can do. All right. Well, that's going to do it. You have questions, though, drop them in the inbox, and we'll get those next week to the show. And really appreciate that. So it's Mike at bearguspodcast.com. You have time this week. Let's get it done. We'll have another show on Friday, so come on back for that. Tomorrow we'll have the replay from Sunday night's live call-in show. That was a hoot and a half, so join us for that. And we'll keep the shows coming for you. As long as you are here, we'll be here as well. Don't forget, our podcasts are brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We would love to help you plan your next Walt Disney World, Disneyland, or Disney Cruise Line vacation. Best part, no additional cost to you. Check out all the details today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you so much to our Patreon supporters. Just $5 a month is all it takes. And you'll get a bonus show every week. It's called Mike in the Midwest. Come on over and support the show this week. Patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. Give us a follow on the social media. I'm at beourguestmike. Pam's at TMFLTPam. Instagram, Twitter, and Threads. Give us a follow over there. And of course, the fun never stops over in our Clubhouse. It's our Discord server. It's beourguestpodcast.com/clubhouse. Coming over and join us over there. We have channels for everything. We even have a live fantasy football league going on over there. We have live trip updates from folks that are in the parks, Disneyland, Walt Disney World. You want to see what's happening with our listeners? The people on the ground, boots on the ground. We have live it's like a live question show going on 24/7 over in the Discord. So come on over and join us over there today. And of course, we'll have the live call-in show Sunday night, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central. Scott will be back with me Sunday night. So join us for that as well. All right. Until we get back together again on Friday, hope you have a great midweek and an awesome, just whatever you're doing midweek. So until we talk again, from Pam, I'm Mike, wishing you a great Wednesday. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon. All right, let me text Ricky real quick.
Okay.
Let's get this thing real quick before I lose it. This is making me nervous. EPISODE 2549. Hey everybody, we're still here. Just hanging with us as Pam types and Mike talks into the microphone while he saves the file. We're at 81% saved. We're at 93%. We're saved.
She said Brian has to work tonight.
Okay, then we will do a second show right now. So stay tuned.
Agreed.
We'll knock it out of the park. I wonder if Scott's home. Let's look. If we find my friends. What time is it? It's 4:30 there. Oh, you're in his time zone. Nope, he's at work. He's walking to his car. Nope. Yep. She said it's the end of the month. Isn't it September 3rd?
September 3rd.
I get it, because he's got to close out because he's an accountant, right? So at the beginning of the month, you close out the end of the month, probably.
Yeah, depending on what your bookkeeping needs are, yes.
Okay, so we need a topic. Somebody give us a topic. We need a topic. Topical topic for Friday. So Friday will be September. Close that file. What shall we talk about?
What in the Disney news right now? I was just thinking about that. Or do we have something we're still working on, series, or
We could just talk about one of the lands or something again. Like we could talk about Like we could talk, because we haven't talked about like a land in forever. Like we could talk about what we really like about. We've done those trapped ins.
Trapped in.
Disney food and wine. See, I haven't done the research for that. I would do that, but I haven't researched. So I want to do something where I've researched.
All right.
It's a good idea, but I haven't researched anything, so I can't do that yet. I've been too slammed with football and bookings.
It is because everyone is getting their children's calendar, actually.
It's been crazy.
School calendar. The what other land do we need to do?
Have we done Toy Story Land? Wait. Look on our page.
Oh, yeah.
Where's the search button on our page? There it is. Toy Story. Yep. Trapped in Toy Story Land 2359.
Trapped in Toy Story Land. I was like, there's not a lot there.
Well, there's not.
What else is in Hollywood Studios? The mainland, we probably have done like that main drag.
Trapped in Crescent Lake area.
Trapped in Crescent Lake.
You just have to hang out there for the day.
All right.
So the only thing you do is like you have to entertain yourself at Yacht Beach or
Boardwalk. Yacht Beach Boardwalk. We have Swolfen too.
Yep. But you can't go to a park. All
right. I could do it.
Oh, there's another idea. Ride you'd be willing to ride for 24 hours straight and we never ride again.
Oh, after 24 hours, I think it would be almost all the rides.
Oh, I'll save that one for when Scott's here. Let's do Trapped in the Crescent Lake area. All right, here we go. 255. Let's do it. To it. Here we go. Ready? Hitting it. Ready? Welcome to episode 2551 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Friday to you and welcome to the first full weekend of September here on the Be Our Guest Podcast. And we're going to make it a good one. We're going to have some fun today going back to one of our old series that we started probably almost a decade ago and kind of switch it up a little bit today and have some fun to get your mind thinking about Walt Disney World. We know you love Walt Disney World. We know you wish you were there. And by the way, shout out to all of our Be Our Guest Podcast lizards kicking off another Run Disney race season, but this time out on the West Coast, headed out to Disneyland for the Halloween races out there. Good luck. Get those miles in, collect your medals, and most importantly, make those memories and have so much fun. Post those pictures over in our clubhouse if you don't mind this weekend and let us know. Show all those pictures, show the bling, but show the snacks, show the times in the theme park, show the attraction photos. I just want to see it all because I can't get out there because I'm watching Mallory cheer Friday night, and then we have tickets to the Mizzou game on Saturday. You know how it is. You got priorities with your kids, but I wish I was there. I'll be cheering you virtually from here in Missouri, but do post the pictures so I can share in on the fun. We're proud of you guys. So have a great weekend out in Disneyland. Join me today. We're going to have some fun virtually hanging out at Walt Disney World with all of you guys. Joining me, Pam Forrester. She's co-owner of the Magic for Less Travel. Pam, happy Friday. What's going on?
Happy Friday. And actually, this is the perfect show for me because this is sort of my one of my favorite areas in Walt Disney World. It's actually, I always say this, but so when I get to, we stay at the Yacht Club a lot just because we're really familiar with it and it's just we have so many good memories there. It is one of those places that right before you leave for vacation, things go crazy, right? It just always happens. There's things you have to do somehow. People ask for, like, somehow it's like people around, you're going on vacation. They're like, "Oh, I wanted to tell you about this. Could you whatever?" So there's like stress and you're packing and it's always crazed, right? But when we get on property and I walk into the yacht club lobby, I exhale like okay, I'm here. Like I know where everything is. I know what I'm gonna do, or I have so many different ideas of what I want to do. And I just love this area. And I love walking around that Crescent Lake area. I think it's so relaxing. You're right there. You can walk into Epcot and yet you feel very removed from the park. So I'm excited about this.
Yeah. So today's show, we are going to be trapped in the Crescent Lake area. So in the past, we did a series where we were trapped in Fantasyland at the Magic Kingdom, or trapped in Adventureland, or trapped in Toy Story Land. And we could not leave that land for the entire day. We just had to make the most of it. We could eat there. We would have to entertain ourselves there. We would just have a good time, but we could not leave there. So we are going to say today, for today's purposes, we can't go into Epcot. We can't go into the studios, but we can walk around Crescent Lake there. So we can go into the yacht club, the beach club, the boardwalk, and all the, stores around that area, the restaurants around that area, also the Swan and the Dolphin. And just for Len's sake, the Swolphin. He'd never heard of that term here in the live chat. Yes, it's a thing. Yeah. I mean, I think there's actually even a website somewhere that's called the Swolphin, right? There is.
I don't know. There may be.
There is. I'm almost positive that there is. I think it's actually a like a one that the Swan and the Dolphin recognize too. I think maybe it's a fever dream. I don't know. But anyway, we're going to have a good time because I like these shows because when you're missing Walt Disney World, it's kind of just fun to, in your mind's eye, virtually walk around and picture these places and think about, man, if I was there, because it could be in the morning. That's a great thing about Crescent Lake. Crescent Lake, to me, it's great right at sunrise.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's a whole nother place, like in the evening when people are there after dark, because the boardwalk's got all those like stringy lights and there's live entertainment. There's a juggler. There's a fire juggler. No, there's not maybe there could be a fire juggler. It's your dream, whatever. It's your mind's eye. If you want to make it a little bit more exciting, there's a fire juggler today. Who knows? Chainsaw juggler. I mean, who knows? It could be. It's Halloween, but who cares? It's going to be fun today. So we're going to walk around, talk about some of the great places to eat, to be entertained, and just to have a good time. And you mentioned that you exhale when you get to the beach and the yacht club upon arrival. I do the opposite. I inhale because those places smell great.
They do both smell really good. They all smell good. The boardwalk has a very distinct scent too that I love.
I'm always like, I waft it. I'm like, oh yeah, I've arrived. It smells yacht clubby.
That's
like natural,
very yachty.
Nautical. Smells like yacht rock. Smells like Michael McDonald.
Yes.
Whatever. It's like McClure, class of 70. High school with my uncle. Anyway. So, okay, let's stroll around. What do we want to talk about first, Pam? What we're going to talk about? Just kind of casually strolling around the Crescent Lake area.
Yeah, I think there's a ton to do in this space. And you don't even have to go into the park. I think if I'm staying at any of these resorts, I could staycation here.
Agreed.
Just because as you walk out from Epcot, you sort of reach that area where there's a bridge that goes over to the boardwalk. Or if you stay to the right there, you're going to encounter the beach club first. Then you'll follow that up with the yacht club. And then you can go ahead and walk around and you'll walk past the Swan and Dolphin and head over to the boardwalk there. So do you want to start with like what we do like in the morning? Where are you getting breakfast? What are you going to do? I mean,
Yeah, let's start in the morning. Well, first of all, I would say if you're staying at any of these hotels, any of the five, so we're talking Swan Dolphin, Beach Yacht, or Boardwalk, I would encourage you, if you have the time, if you're there for more than a couple of nights, this is a great place to get up in the morning, grab your favorite morning beverage. I don't drink coffee, so I grab a Coke Zero or whatever. But I mean, whatever, you go to the Boardwalk Bakery, go to your coffee stand and you get one in your room, get whatever at your hotel. And this is just one of the best places on property to stroll and just get the morning rolling right at sunrise, even pre-sunrise, and let the sun come up on you 15 minutes into your walk. You don't have to go for a run, but if you're a runner, that's a good place to run. It's a great place to run. But even if you're not a runner, grab that coffee and take in your morning stroll around Crescent Lake. It's beautiful to see the sunrise, because as you get to the far side of Crescent Lake, when you're actually walking over by the Swan and the Dolphin and you look back towards where the cake shop's being built, you can actually see the Eiffel Tower, and you can see Spaceship Earth over that way, and the sunrise coming up. It's gorgeous. So don't discount that. And then as stuff starts to come alive in the morning, I do like to make my way over to the Boardwalk Bakery. They have a lot of good pastries. They have some savory things, you know, they have biscuits and sausage and stuff like that. But that's one of my favorite places to grab, because most of the time the weather's nice, and it's nice down there a lot of times in January or February when it's nasty back in Missouri, and I can grab a nice breakfast and sit outside by the water and just be thanking my lucky stars that I can have a breakfast outside in January in Florida, and I can't do that at home. That's a great way to start the day.
No, I totally agree, and I think the Boardwalk Bakery in particular, I think is such a great place to be. Boardwalk Deli, they're calling it. Remember, they switched
Oh,
names.
dude,
They
I
try.
forgot.
I
Gosh,
know.
we're back to Wednesday. Old dogs, new tricks. Can't do it.
Right, I know. But I will say they have I like the Boardwalk Deli for a couple of reasons. First of all, they have a few different bagel sandwiches, which I think, I mean, that's always sort of a yummy thing. They have a ciabatta sandwich too. But they also have, it's one of the few places in Walt Disney World that has an almond croissant. This is one of those things that I like. I rarely get it at home. Well, almost never at home, but on vacation, like this is like a vacation treat that I'm always like, oh, this is where it's at. There's just something about an almond croissant that is so good, and you can actually get it here. And then the other thing that they have there that you can get is that coffee cake.
Yeah,
Like the
that's my go-to. That I could have
I
that morning
know.
and night. That's my new favorite
So
snack. Walt
good.
Disney World. Yeah, or everywhere. Oh,
It's
it's a great value. It's like $3 or $4, and it's huge. It's huge.
It is. It is. And it's like not really, the cake itself is really not that sweet. It's like the topping in it. And I don't love things that are overly sweet. So again, this is another thing that I'm like, oh, this is right up my alley. So I love those things, and I love that they have different things. But don't forget, the Boardwalk Deli is open all day, and it has all kinds of good stuff. So we'll get to some other things later. But I agree. That's one of the places that we end up going for breakfast often when we're staying there, is the Boardwalk Deli. And I agree with you on the waking up there. You cannot discount.
Are you somebody though that on your vacation will get up and go for a stroll just to kind of get?
Oh yeah.
Going? I mean, because not every day is a park day on vacation for you, right? Because it isn't for me. Not every single day.
No, it's not. And especially if it's not going to be like a park intense day, then we'll get up and sort of walk around. There are some good places to get coffee. And the Boardwalk Deli is actually one of the places that we stop. It's not like fancy coffee or anything, but it has decent coffee. And there's other locations to do that. And I think too, one of the things to think about is, especially the yacht club and the boardwalk, many of those rooms have a balcony. And I will say that's another great way to spend some time there too, because you can see some great locations from your balcony and just sort of enjoy that time. And I also think that it's absolutely worth some of the views, paying more for a view in some of these resorts, like the beach club, the yacht club, and the boardwalk. So like the beach club and the yacht club, when you're paying for that view of the water, not just a plain water view, but like the lake view room, that is, I think, worth it. It's so cool to be able to look out and see that area in the morning, and to also see over to the boardwalk at night.
Yeah, what to me, what that view is, and again, I think you had to be around a little bit longer to understand what I'm saying here, is it's that planning video that you used to get back in the like 2000s, the VHS tape video. Like, this is what you dreamed of, is that, and also it's the Burn Bombs guide, like picture you would see when it said Disney's Boardwalk Inn. It was always that, the opening up of the boardwalk there with the water reflecting at night and the friendship boats going by. That's, you kind of want to stay in those rooms.
Yeah.
They're all great. When your eyes are closed, it's all the same. But I mean, it's cool to look down and see all the excitement happening. Now there's ways too, but I mean, it's a good trade-off.
It is. There's something about it. And over at the Yacht and Beach Club, the water view room can be of either a pool or that Crescent Lake view. So if you want one over the other, you can also request that. Not guaranteed, but you can request it for sure.
And Len, again, our good friend, who his Sparties, Michigan State Spartans, are still 1-0. I'm going to say that until they lose, just because it's always great when your team's undefeated, still under the football season. But he says, don't forget about the morning yoga in the turf over near the boardwalk yacht. So that big, when you walk out of the boardwalk, they have that artificial grass, the AstroTurf there.
They had to replace that. It did have real grass way back when.
A lot of people play soccer there and stuff. I mean,
it got a little crazy.
There. I mean, I get it. It was heavily used. So be careful with the ACLs over there. I'm just saying, they can bite you. But yeah, they do. And all the resorts are doing stuff like this, which I think is very cool. One of the things they do is yoga there. So stretch it. Mm-hmm. One of the coolest things I ever saw, off topic again, this is what I do. Grand Californian having breakfast at Storytellers. They were doing morning yoga in the pool at the Grand Californian, like on boogie boards.
Oh gosh,
that's at a whole different level. Because you had to like balance on a boogie board while you were doing morning. I kept telling Scott, I'm like, I'm elbowing. I'm like, Scott, dude,
right?
It's so California. It's not just yoga. Those people are on boogie boards in the pool doing yoga. I'm like,
that's like expert level.
Next level. It was wild. I was like, dude, this is worth the price. This is worth my $90 waffles right now to see that. That's get the characters. I'm watching this.
That's too funny.
I was like, you're in California when.
Right.
Wild. Anyway. So what else? So that's kind of like one thing I would say to get your morning go. We have a lot going on, but what else is kind of a high experience? Hit everything. What else a highlight of this area?
So I will say the pools at all these locations are great. Of course, Stormalong Bay is the Yacht and Beach Club. The pool at the boardwalk no longer has the scary clown, right? It's gone.
Appointment. That's a downgrade. That clown was classic.
I know, right? And the Swan and Dolphin also have a beautiful pool area too.
That's what it should have done after every kid came down. Like,
right?
It spat you out and it would go.
Spit out the kid. It's true. And the other great thing about all these pool areas is, well, not all of them. So at the Yacht and Beach Club and also at the Swan and Dolphin, you can actually rent poolside cabanas there for the day. So if I was having a day where I was going to spend a good majority of my time by the pool, especially in the summer, let me tell you, I'd be thinking about one of these cabanas, because that's not a bad way to spend a day by the pool. You have sort of that area. You'll have a refrigerator, you'll have a television, you'll have nice comfy chairs and lots of shade. So you don't have to worry about that. So I think that's a huge plus.
I would say, Stormalong Bay gets all the love, right? It's the best pool. It's just no debating it at Walt Disney World. But the pool at the boardwalk, it's criminally underrated, I think, because it's so close to Stormalong Bay. People don't talk about it, but if you ever, and you see it a lot when you run Disney races, because the marathon, a lot of the races run that path between the studios and Epcot, and you go past it, because you have that slide that looks like, I guess it's like a Coney Island roller coaster,
like
wooden roller coaster style. And we've stayed there a couple times, and that slide is a ton of fun. And the bar looks like an old carousel, and the pool's gigantic. That is an underrated pool. It's a great pool. Like people don't talk about it much, but it's a great feature pool. I like
And
it.
Hannah used to say when she was little that was one of her favorite slides because it's a really tall
It's big.
slide.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
big.
it is.
Yeah,
It
it's long.
goes around and around, and yeah, it's a significant. It's not just a puny water slide. I mean, it's a tall slide, and I think it's fun. It's just super fun, and I think that's the thing about so many of the pools at Walt Disney World is all the slides. You're not talking like they're not crazy slides. Grandma can ride the slide at all of the pools, and this is definitely one worth checking out for sure.
Grandmas in the 2020s are not grandmas in the 1980s. Dude, my grandma in the 1980s was not riding that slide. But I mean, 2020 grandmas, no problem.
Absolutely right.
Dude, they're going down those things. Like, look at it.
Yes.
It's a big difference. It's so I saw a thing the other day. It showed like, again, off topic, but it showed like all these characters from the like sitcoms of like the 70s and 80s, like Mel Sharples and like Flo from Owl.
Yes.
All those people that she was like 39.
Right?
And like George Jefferson, he was like 42. I'm like, what?
I know. When
like,
you're looking at that list and the majority of them are younger than you are, that's
exactly.
That's a little scary.
Oh, man, they were like 80. Yeah, no, I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm so old. Anyway, so let's talk shopping though. One of the talking about criminally underrated places that never get any buzz. One of the best stores on property is Screen Door, which is the shop there that is at the boardwalk. That is right along the boardwalk there itself, and it's a gigantic store, and it's got great merchandise. So if you ever get a chance to go over there and want to shop for some merchandise, first of all, it's got great boardwalk hotel and villas specific merchandise. But inside of it, it's got like a mini confectionery too. It's got like little goodies like candy apples, like caramel apples, and Rice Krispie treats of different varieties, and it's got frozen treats. It's almost like a little mini it's like a kind of like Big Top treats at the Magic Kingdom on a mini scale. It's awesome. I mean, it's got sweet treats, it's got great merch, and people never talk about it, but if you don't go in there, you got to check it out. It's bigger than you think.
It is, and I really do appreciate that this shop at the boardwalk and also the shops at the Yacht and Beach Club do have resort specific merchandise. It's one of, and sometimes places do and sometimes they don't, but I feel like these shops in particular are always carrying it. And I always seem to find things at all of these shops that I don't see other places. Like I'll walk in and I'll be like, what is this? I have not seen this at any other location. So I like that about that too. So you're right. The shopping is really good there. And I think another thing that sort of sets this area apart in particular is the recreation options when you think about it. So like you can get a fishing excursion from these resorts. You can get a boat excursion from these resorts. You can rent a Surrey bike over at the boardwalk. I mean, those are not, when you think about those kind of things, that's something that you can't get at every resort. And in addition, there are tennis courts / pickleball courts.
Tennis was so 70s, dude. We're pickleball now.
I know. I get it.
As that little baby's commercial says, this is wiffle tennis.
Right. I know. But they have the lines for both so that you can play both of them. So
I guess people in the Northeast still play tennis. Here, dude, it's all so because we have a franchise. I don't know if you guys have this up your way. Pickle and chicken and pickle. You guys have?
Oh no, we don't have that.
Oh, dude, it's a huge franchise now. It's this gigantic. They build these huge like complexes, kind of like the size of like a Dave and Buster's, but they're bigger. It's bigger than a Dave and Buster's with just a bunch of pickleball courts on the inside. Some of them are indoor, some of them are like outdoor but covered, and it's like a huge sports venue. But they serve like Buffalo Wild Wings, like wings and sports bar food. But you go in there and you rent out a court. And they have like 20 or 30 courts. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we have them at our parks. Like we have some legit pickleball. Like they'll have pickleball tournaments here. When they did the like community chest project of the year a few years ago, and they were asking people like to fund what they wanted to see. So that was how people voted, right? With their pocketbook. Pickleball courts were by far the most popular thing. So anyways, yeah.
Our generation can play pickleball still, and we have a little disposable income. That's exactly the two reasons why pickleball's taken over the world.
It is, right? But it's really something that I think you can do all these recreation things at these resorts. And I think it's things that people don't always think about, right? I mean, you don't always think about a fishing excursion, especially at Walt Disney World, but we've had, lots of people that have come on and been a guest of the show that have talked about like how great these fishing excursions are. I know you've done one, Steve's done them. They're just a really cool thing. And this is one of the areas where you can do that. And the other thing is the Surrey bikes. I mean, look, I'm not sure I understand the appeal, but people love the Surrey bikes. And so
kids love the Surrey bike. Parents are roped into riding the Surrey bikes. And I'll tell you what, that hill going over towards the Swan of the Dolphin.
I know.
It stinks. I'm trying to use the right word here. It stinks to run up during the races. But I'm telling you what, when you're trying to pedal a Volkswagen up that sucker, yes, especially if you've gone over to Beaches and Cream and eaten No Way Jose or something on a 100-degree day with 98% humidity, is the world's worst idea. And I'll tell you what, if you want to be a good person and you see a dad or a family in pain, like trying to get their Surrey bike, it's perfectly good karma to get behind the Surrey bike and push them.
Yes.
Push them up the hill. Be the good person. Push them all the way to the top of the hill, and then when they're at the top of the hill, give them one last push like the Jamaican bobsled team down towards the jelly rolls, and just say have fun, and just
right.
Exactly, be the good person.
It is that hill, like it's exponentially more steep.
Yeah, so brutal.
It really truly is. It's craziness.
I thought that arch was a great architectural touch.
That's right. They're like, we're going to embrace the natural topography of the area.
Whatever. Forget that.
I know, right? The other thing that's a great recreation activity that's within walking distance right here, of course, is Fantasia Gardens.
Yes.
The mini golf. It's like mini golf / I don't know. It's a more challenging mini golf.
Yeah.
So it's not like goofy golf.
Well, I mean, we just call it putt-putt.
You're not going to see the windmill. Like you're not going to have to putt through the windmill.
Well, on the one course, you kind of have the kind of obstacles that are like that, but then you have the one course that is it's called like fairways or something.
Yes.
I mean, you got to be a real golfer to play that one. Those are super long, and it's got the humps and now that one doesn't have the obstacles, but they're hugely impossible. I've never even played that. You got to be super good to play that.
Yeah, there's like for people to work on their actual putting skills.
I mean, that one's meant to like give Tiger Woods fits.
Yes.
Like you don't want any of that on vacation. Seriously, I mean, you're supposed to have fun. Like, for real. Why would you do that?
You shouldn't want to have to throw your golf club.
Exactly. I mean, and it's right there on a major artery. Like, there's Buena Vista Drive. I mean, like, if I was playing that one, there's danger to those cars because I could throw my putter at any moment because I am super competitive.
It's true. And the thing is, with all of those courses, there's like after you reach a certain point, you're supposed to stop. You're supposed to pick up your ball.
You take a stroke, it's an 8. Yeah, but I mean, some people don't. They just like, dude, that's your 13th stroke. Give it up.
Exactly. Like, how many is that? But then on this course, I'm always like, I don't really want someone behind me counting mine either, though, if I'm going to be honest about this. So
take a snowman. Take a snowman.
I know, but you'll be able to do that when you're in this area. And, if you're doing if you're doing a package, then the mini golf after a certain time, of course, you can use those admissions.
Before 4. It's before 4 o'clock.
Is it before 4?
Because they don't want after it's prime time after 4 o'clock.
Because people are tired and they're out of the park.
Well, because it's hotter during the day. When nobody's around. Yeah, they want you to use it when people are in the parks, basically. But that's why it's free then. So 4 o'clock.
So then you can do it. So I think there's just so many recreation things that you can do in this area. And over at the Swan and Dolphin, they have swan boats that you can rent. They're like paddle boats that look like swans. They have a few different pools over there. One like always reminds me of like Olympic, like it's lined and stuff. Like you're doing laps, they're ready for you over there. They have a nice slide at one of their pools too. So lots of good stuff to do if you're staying in that area.
There's one that kind of gives me like a Vegas vibe. It's
one of the pools.
Yeah, I don't know. Just people look hip there. I don't know why. They just look more because I guess like conventioneers.
Maybe that's it.
I don't know. It just like I was there one day because I was there for like a media thing and like they put us up there and I'm like, dude, everybody here looks like hip. And then I laughed. I'm like, I shouldn't be here. I don't belong here. I need to go back to Pop Century. Anyway, so yeah. So also though, we have, so let's transition into like snacking and dining. I mean, because you have, of course, if you want to get a good lunch, I would, of course, beaches and cream. You have your burgers, your chili, your onion rings, and of course, all your ice creams you could imagine, your No Way Jose's, your shakes. I mean, if you're staying in this area, you have to go there at least once. And you can walk up. I know a lot of people say, I couldn't get an ADR. Just go over there and just walk up. Just be patient. You'll get in within a half an hour. You'll get in.
Yeah. Especially since they've expanded it. It used to be so much smaller and really impossible to get there. And it's still one of the ones that I think, people think about making an ADR for, but yes, absolutely. They have a walk up and you can use that feature for sure. So I think it's a great place for a lunch. I also think that we talked about the Boardwalk Deli, and of course that is something that I think is a good place for a lunch too. It's funny because over at the Boardwalk area, there's not as many lunch options, but the new corn dog stand did open to much fanfare, I will say. They have the pickle corn dog, which is a pickle and has a hot dog in it, and then it's all dipped in corn dog batter and served with a side of peanut butter. And it is definitely worth it. It's a very unique treat, and I think definitely worth checking out too.
Dude, I mean, I did find out I have ulcers. I don't know how that would do with that. It's probably a bad combo, but it's probably most things I eat are. So who cares? They've given me pills, so I guess I'm good. Just take a pill and move on. Just my life. So yeah, I would do that. Also, Len says the pizza window. People swear by that pizza at the Boardwalk Pizza Window, which is over there by the Abracadabra Bar and Trattoria El Forno. You know what? I had pizzas there, like full pizzas, years ago, like at Marathon Weekend, but haven't had them for a while.
I think the pizza at the window is different than what you get at Trattoria. So I agree. I think that pizza is decent too. There's also so many other great dining locations in the spot. Like we have Ale and Compass, which we talk about all the time. The lounge and the restaurant is great. We have Cape May Cafe, which is a very unique dining spot. It's a buffet, but it features a lot of seafood options that you just don't find in other locations. So for that reason, I think that that's something that appeals to a lot of people. And it's a character meal in the morning for breakfast too. But I know, Mike, your family doesn't love seafood, but if you were there by yourself.
I mean, if I was solo, yeah, heck yeah. I mean, my family's so bad, they won't even, like, they hate to walk past it because
they don't like,
to be honest, like it's pungent. Like when we walk past there, if you don't like seafood, I mean, it hits you like a brick wall. Like you can, I get it. Like my wife's like, she doesn't like seafood. If you're from the Midwest, like it's a thing. I get it. I don't know how I got to be liking seafood where I'm from, because most people around here don't. But yeah, she's always like, "Oh man, we're going past Cape May Cafe." I'm like, "This not that bad. It feels good to me." But yeah, so that's how you get your character fix, though. If you're not going into the parks, but you want to get breakfast at Cape May, it's good. Also, I want to mention though, if you can't get into beach or beaches and cream, the fountain over at the Swan is a kind of like a secondary beaches and cream, because it's got the same kind of stuff. It's got burgers and fries and like grilled cheese sandwiches and BLTs and stuff like that. And just so you know, it has a PB&J shake, which I will tell you it's not the same as 50's prime time, but it's dang good.
It
I've
is good.
a couple of times. It's pretty good. So you
Yeah.
can get it over there. So just don't forget about the fountain over at the Swan. I think
Yeah.
it's not
That's
the,
good.
it's either the Swan or the Dolphin. If it's not in the one, just go across the street. I can't remember which one those things are in, guys. I can never remember. So I was just like, if I go to the one, it's not there, just go across the way.
I know. I'm always looking up at the top of the building to remember where I am.
I can never remember. I'm so old. I cannot. If it's not in one, it's in the other. I can't tell.
They do also have at Stormalong Bay, Hurricane Hannah's is right there. It's outside.
Favorite of the Foresters, Hurricane Hannah.
Yes, it is. Yes, happens to share my daughter's name. Not happens to. It was intentional. And but there are lots of good places. At the boardwalk, they recently, this is in the past year or so, opened up like a coffee shop. Remember where that little small shop used to be? It needed it.
Yeah, for a hot minute, that was all the talk of the Disney community.
It was good. It's good. And it did need that. It needed that location. But there's lots of fine dining too. If you're looking for someplace to go for a nice meal at Yacht Club, you have Yachtsman Steakhouse, which we talked about on the show earlier this week. At the boardwalk, there's lots of good. You have Flying Fish, which is one of my favorites. We talked about Trattoria Al Forno. That's a good location. And then the Swan and Dolphin itself has lots of good dining. Shula's Steakhouse, Todd English's Blue Zoo, Il Molino, Rosa Mexicano.
Oh, and everybody keeps talking about that in the clubhouse. That looks so good. And every person raves about that place. It's been there. A lot of our listeners have gone there. They say it might be the best Mexican food on property. They say it's amazing. I know. And that pictures, holy cow.
They look good.
Oh, it looks so good. They say the guac is to die for.
Interesting. Yeah.
My heart's skipping a beat when I hear tableside guac.
Tableside guac. It's a good thing. But yeah, so I mean, you're not going to not have places to eat here. Of course, the lounge folks are going to like that. There's plenty of lounges from Abracadabra over at the boardwalk to Cruise Cup and Martha's Vineyard at the Beach Club, and then over at the Swan and Dolphin, lots of places that will have a lounge there too. So just like Shula's and Il Molino and Kimonos and all of those, and even Rosa Mexicano has its own lounge. So, they can do that. So you're not going to get tired of the dining in that location, I don't think.
No, it's you could just stay there for 4 or 5 nights and you could do casual dining. And here's the thing too, Trattoria Al Forno, I think, is so very underrated, but we all collectively want this place to stay exactly like it is, because it's a place that you can go to for an ADR all the time and you're going to get a solid meal. So if you're looking for some Italian food, it's got it. You want lasagna, they have like those they're not pitas, but what are they, like the hot pocket things, but they're not called hot pockets.
Like the calzone.
Calzones. Yes, they're like fancy hot pockets. But they're so good. I mean, they have good salads. It's a really good Italian restaurant that is easy to get in, and it's easily accessible too, right? If you're at the boardwalk, you're at the beach club, you're at the yacht club, you're at Epcot, you want to hop out, you're at the studios, you want to hop out. It's just so easy to get to. And I just like the environment of the place, and it just puts you in a good spot too. I love it.
Yeah.
Great restaurant.
It is. It is.
Not expensive either. It's really moderately priced.
I agree. It's not a signature restaurant. On the dining plan, it's going to be 1 credit, I believe, there. So it's not going to be a 2 credit location. So that's another thing to think about. And I think that's another great point to think about. If you have the dining plan, you're going to have some 1 table service credit restaurants that are good. Ale and Compass, that's just 1 credit. That's solidly good food. And I think that that's a good location to try. I think the other thing is too, in that boardwalk area, eventually that cake shop is supposed to open, right? And they're going to do.
Rumor has it. I mean, I did hear back in 2019 there's going to be a cake shop. I mean, to check out my beloved ESPN. Now I'm going to watch my Tigers, but what's up? Whatever.
I know, right? But when that opens, it looks like it's going to have some great breakfast, some great lunch/tea options. So that'll be a good spot to go to. So yeah, lots of dining at these locations. I mean, the Swan and Dolphin themselves, when you look at the list of restaurants there, it's a long list. It really is.
I mean, those are huge. You don't realize how large those two hotels are. They're massive. They're gigantic. They have a lot going on. So yeah, definitely. I think the thing is too, a lot of folks, and I was exactly this person. Like, I was a snob, right? I'm gonna stay away from those two hotels because they're not Disney owned, right? They're on property, but they're not Disney owned. But then when I finally went over there and just kind of looked around, like, oh, well, hopefully nobody sees me. But I'm going to have lunch over at the fountain. It was fine. It was good. Like, the food was good. My PB&J shake was awesome. It's cool. And like, Scott was like, dude, we got to go to El Molino. I was like, whatever, we'll go to El Molino. Oh man, it was a good meal. The only bad thing was they told me you can't wear a hat when you eat at El Molino. So I was like, okay, I had to take my hat off. So I had to take my hat off and keep it, like, fix my hair real quick because it was fancy. You can't have a hat on in that place. I was like, wow, fancy. I'm Abe Froman, the sausage king of Chicago. But it was like, this is pretty fancy. But it was fine. Food was worth it. But it's good to get, try some new places. And when you're over there as well, you got entertainment. You got things like jelly rolls, I mean, you got a dueling piano bar on the boardwalk. You have Abracadabra, and then at night, most nights, you got like a juggler. You got kind of you can shoot hoops if you want. Try to win prizes like on a boardwalk. There's some live music out there sometimes. It's just, of course, the people buzzing through in their Surrey bikes. There's just an energy just to being out and just taking a stroll with an ice cream cone or a cookie or cotton candy or your corn dog that's a pickle or whatever with peanut butter. I mean, it's total vacation mode when you just stroll around at night with the lights and the friendship boats going doot doot out on the water. I just love being out on the boardwalk at night. It's a great way to wrap up a night at Walt Disney World.
Yeah, I agree. There is. And all three of these resorts too are going to have the movie Under the Stars, which we all think is such a great often overlooked thing to do at your resort. There is something about watching a Disney movie outside with a screen, sitting on a lounge chair or sitting in the grass or something like that, seeing it right there. It's so fun. And it just makes you sort of appreciate, I think, all those movies a little more. You sort of get the opportunity to create a new memory of that movie because you're watching it in a different way. And Mike, you have an assignment the next time you're there. You have to pick a Disney movie you haven't seen, which will be really easy for you since you haven't seen a lot of them, and do a Movies Under the Stars thing because it is.
What was the one from Wednesday? Emperor's New Groove?
Emperor's New Groove. Yeah. That's a good one. Boom, baby.
See the hatch or something?
Pull the lever.
The lever. The cord. Guys are on the cord. The lever. Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. And Jason's got the comment of the day. The cake shop was going to open in 2056. Maybe.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm ready for cakes and fancy stuff. But so here's the thing too, kind of wrapping this up as we're at the end of the show. But for me, like when I first started going to Disney, was that staying at like the beach club or the yacht club or the boardwalk, that was really kind of aspirational at first, right? Because like my wife and I were both school teachers, and just going to Walt Disney World was a huge deal. We stayed at All Stars or maybe Pop Century, and that was fine because we were always in the parks, and that's kind of how it was. But what we did do kind of the first time was that we did a split. We stayed for our package for the majority of the stay. And then I remember like we added like a night or two at Beach Club at the end. And that was such a splurge for us, but it opened up a whole new world to us. We realized it was fancy to stay at the Beach Club and you got all those extra amenities, and we loved it. Like we got to swim in Stormalong Bay, and we got to do all the things we talked about today. We got to shop at Screen Door over at the boardwalk and got to explore all these, lounges and stuff. But there's just regular people, like we weren't it was no different. Like we had a good time. But what I think that's a great way to kind of maybe, if you've never stayed in one of these hotels over in the Crescent Lake area, maybe you don't stay there for 7 nights, but maybe if you want to just try out staying at a place like this, do a split, stay 5 nights at French Quarter, or stay 5 nights at All Star Music, or, Pop Century, or Art of Animation, whatever you're used to. And maybe just split the last 2 nights out, over at Boardwalk, and check it out. I think that's a great introduction to a place like this.
Agreed. And I think one of the advantages to staying at least the Yacht, Beach, and Boardwalk is that they have standard rooms that it can accommodate up to 5 guests with that day bed. So consider that. That might be an option that if you have 5 in your party that you want to consider. And finally, these resorts each have a club level, which I know that seems, again, like an added expense, but when you consider the other things that are included in your club level stay, like the breakfast, like the afternoon snacks and the evening appetizers and cordials and desserts, that's something that sort of it makes it easy to sort of value that, right? It has a value. It does cost more, but there is a value to it as well. And I think that's something to consider too. And I think also these resorts are all great for any kind of celebration stay. And we have the very distinct pleasure in our business to be the part of so many fantastic celebrations and memories. And that's really such an honor. And it's hard to think of a better location than these 3 when you're thinking about something like that.
It's cool because when you stay there, and I've been lucky enough to stay there a few times, that you can actually hear the friendship boats in the morning. Like when you wake up, there's something to be like when you're at Wilderness Lodge or the Contemporary, or, on the monorail loop, when you hear like the resort come to life each morning. Like when you're at the Wilderness Lodge, sometimes you hear the train for the first thing in the morning, you hear, or you hear the ferry boat, bringing guests, starting the day. And it's just like, you have to be somebody that's listening to the Be Our Guest podcast or any podcast, right? You get it. We always talk about getting it. You understand those sounds that make us happy. Even, for us really crazy people, and crazy in a good way. Like when you hear the, like the air brake of a Disney bus, like, that bus is taking us to a theme park, right? It gets us pumped. At home, that bus would be taking you to work or wherever, in downtown New York City or whatever. We don't use mass transit here in the Midwest too much, but it's about context. To me, that bus always means it's taking me somewhere fun. I'm going to the Magic Kingdom or Epcot or wherever. So I just think that, it's an opportunity to see things in a cool way. So hopefully you got to go on this metal journey with us today, around and see the water, and go shopping at Screen Door, go to the pool at the Boardwalk, and fly the flying jib slide, and go over to the cake bake shop, which who knows if we'll open. We can pretend, hopefully, because I could use some cake right now. It'd be great. And I could use a stay at any of these hotels right now. Pam, how about you for the weekend? I could take it.
Yeah. Now that we're talking about it, I'm like, I don't have a trip planned like in the next whatever. And now I'm like, but I want to be there. I do want to be there.
And shout out real quick to Carol Houston over on Instagram. She says her son is currently working in the culinary program over at Trattoria El Forno.
Oh,
so thank you. It's awesome that he is doing that. And she says the pizza is the same because for over Trattoria, and because he occasionally works the window.
Fun. I didn't know that. See, it's good to know.
We have experts all the time listening.
Right.
So hey, we don't even have to guess because we have
friends in good places.
I'm telling you what, making the pies. There you go. All right, we're going to jump out of here. Wish you a great weekend. Don't forget the show brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you plan a great Disney vacation, Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, even Adventures by Disney, to get out there and see the world. Best part, no additional cost to you. You get our concierge level services absolutely free each and every time. Check out all the details this weekend while you're hanging out over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon, and support the show on Patreon. We'd appreciate that so very much. It's just $5 a month, just a cup of coffee each month, and it keeps us going, helps us pay for the video support, the audio hosting, the bandwidth, all that stuff. And as the show grows, those costs grow. So it really does help us take care of that. And for that support, you'll get a bonus show every week. It's called Mike in the Midwest. So coming over this weekend, we'd love to have you at patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. All right, give us a follow on the social media. Pam, Check her out at TMFLT Pam. I'm at Be Our Guest Mike, Instagram, Twitter, and Threads. And of course, we hang out all the time, 24/7, 365 in our clubhouse. It's at beourguestpodcast.com/clubhouse. That's our Discord server. It's basically a message board and a live kind of thread that goes on in real time. It's a lot of fun. We have about 1,150 of our listeners in there all the time, talking Disney, talking sports, talking everything. So come on over and hang out with us this weekend. Also, we'll have our live call-in show Sunday night. Scott joins me and we take your calls live. So if you want to talk about anything, give us a holler. It's 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central this Sunday night, 2 nights from tonight. Join us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, or Twitch. We'll be waiting for your call. All right. So until we get back together again on Sunday night, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. But until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon. That was a good one. That was fun.
It was a good one. Now I want to go there. I really do.
I do too. But I will
All right.
Doing podcasts and getting Taco Bell in a little bit. All right.
It won't be the same.
They'll be what it is. Meeting. All right. I'll see you later. Thank you.
Okay. All right. See ya. Okay. All right. Bye.
So 2551. Edited. You do get to go in December. You lucky dog, Lynn. It's going to be awesome. All right, guys. I will catch you soon. We will have another show on tomorrow night, a Trip Report show. So I hope you can join me about this time at 6 o'clock Central, 7 o'clock Eastern tomorrow night. We'll have a Trip Report for you. All right. So until then, you guys have a good night.